Hi friends, Simon here from InformedTrades.com. In this video, I want to review a book I recently read, The Colder War by Marin Katusa. You can see I read it on my Kindle here. Here's a cover of the book. And share my opinion of the book and sort of a brief description of what the book's about. Basically, I thought it was a great book. If you're interested in fundamental analysis, geopolitics, big picture things that are going to impact the world and the world's economic markets, especially the currency markets and the energy markets, really big picture things that are going to impact the world markets over the next few years, next decade perhaps. This book I think is great, and I would put it on the must-read list for investors, traders, operating from that perspective. If you're a day trader, purely technicals, this probably doesn't have much for you. For the longer term, bigger picture, fundamental analysis, if that's at all related to your money management investing, I think this book is very much worth your time. Also, if you're interested in the energy market and if you're interested in the dollar, the U.S. economy, it's also going to be of great interest. There's going to be a lot of people who disagree with some of the concepts put forth in the book, but even if you disagree with those concepts, it's good to read opposing viewpoints. It's good to challenge, find challenging viewpoints. If anything, I should know that I'm actually in agreement with the author's perspective. Marin Katusa is the chief energy writer for Casey Research. I'm a subscriber to Casey Research. I've read a bunch of his stuff before, so I actually ordered the book with that background, knowing that this is a person I like and follow and think is smart. So I actually have to be careful that I'm not just looking for positive reinforcement, ideas I already believe in. But I think the book has a lot of great research in it that I didn't see in other places. And what really the book has that I thought was interesting, let's rewind a little bit. The basic thesis of the book is that Vladimir Putin is in power in Russia, and his whole strategy is, ever since he decided to rise to power, has been to bring Russia back as a world superpower, and to do so, or the path to do so, would be to leverage energy resources, to control as much of the key elements of the energy market as possible. And that is how Russia is going to return to power. That's sort of the big idea that Putin has. That this is the thesis that the book is arguing, and that is playing out now. So in Russia right now, we're seeing. The book talks about how Putin has really developed a stranglehold over the uranium enrichment market, both uranium mining and the enriching of uranium for nuclear power plants, how Russia has controlled so much of the natural gas and oil that is being provided in other parts of the world, especially Europe. Russia now, in 2012, I think, became the leading country, ahead of Saudi Arabia in terms of oil production. All that is talked about in the book. And one point that's related to that, especially the oil part, is that Putin thinks the biggest threat to his whole plan for developing a superpower and controlling energy to develop that superpower is the United States. So he wants all the countries surrounding Russia, he sort of wants them, especially in Eastern Europe, wants them to be allies, if not, subordinate satellites, basically, puppet countries in a way. And so as to insulate him from the United States. Also, one of the big reasons for developing oil or getting a big position, big control over the portions of the oil market, becoming a major oil producer, is to develop an economy in which oil can be traded outside of the dollar. So Putin, the petrodollar, basically, in the 70s, the United States had an agreement with Saudi Arabia to have oil traded in dollars. And this created constant demand for dollars, or it gave a reason for always owning dollars, which boosted demand for the dollar, which has enabled it to become a reserve currency. That's the thesis put forth in that book. That particular thesis, you'll find people who disagree with that. Of course, you'll find people who disagree with everything. And I encourage people to think about those viewpoints, but that's just what's put forth in the book. And Putin wants to develop control over the oil market, have significant, leverage in the oil market, so they can move away from that. So oil can be traded in other currencies, the ruble, the yuan, what have you. And that will weaken the dollar, which in turn will weaken the United States, which in turn will enable Russia to become more powerful and cement its power. So that's a brief synopsis of the kind of topics the book covers, the kind of things it goes into. Obviously, if you're interested in the currency market, interested in the energy market, there's a lot for you, as well as big picture things. If what the book is talking about plays out, it's going to impact every market. It's probably something that you should be aware of as an investor. If you're thinking about the big picture. Like I mentioned, short-term technicals, day traders, there's not going to be much in here for you. For the bigger picture traders and investors, I think it's a great read. Also, the book is really easy to read. I know I covered a lot of information. It's been 5 minutes now. I've covered a lot of information. The book is very clear to read. I've read a whole bunch of books that are kind of annoying. They present a lot of facts, but it's not well presented as a story. This book actually presents it really well. So I read it really quickly. It took me 3 days. I found it pretty enjoyable reading, pretty easy to understand, and really memorable. It's something I'm going to be referring to quite a bit on my own, just for my own investing when I'm thinking about things. I think it's something that has quite a bit of knowledge. That's about it. If you have the book, any thoughts you want to share, any questions you have, join us on informedtrades.com. Thanks. Take care.